Hello, everyone. We're live.
Yeah. Hey Jay,
Well,
hi. Hey
hey,
Tapas.
Hi. Hi,
How are
Jay.
you
Hi.
both?
good. It's holiday. Get the day off. Get to do some fun things. You know,
It's holiday in at your like in US as well.
it's in I'm in Canada. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
sorry. That's
it's Good
uh,
Friday today for Easter.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's in holiday in India as well.
Yes. I think it's a
Ah,
multiple festival today, so it's all over.
is it? I mean, which other festival is there?
So there are multiple states, celebrating their New Year, like West Bengal, Kerala.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, so things like that coming together.
Oh, nice. I also have a like long holiday here till Monday, so I'll
Nice.
be in office Tuesday.
Yeah. We get Friday off for a holiday, and then Monday's kind of like sort of a holiday. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
take it off, but like most people will be working Easter
Ah.
Monday. Yeah.
Cool. So, first of all, hey everyone, thanks for joining us again in our this episode, and we will be talking about content creation with Tapas, who has been very active on uh, writing blogs and creating contents, and we will get to learn a lot from him for sure. So, before we move ahead, Tapas, would you like to give a small introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So hey, I'm Tapas. So a software developer from Bangalore, and I work for Microfocus as a senior manager for UI UX, and also a passionate writer. And I've been written kind of more than 250 articles so far, possibly on various platforms, on my own blog, Free Code Camp, many other freelance for many other freelance publishers as well. And like to mentor and coach people like who really require certain kind of guidance. So interact with a lot of beginners and freshers or interns, and I love interacting them. And passionate about web development. So I've been doing a lot of web development work since decades, I would say. So
Oh,
love sharing knowledge from that side, and always approachable. So if anybody would like to kind of talk, share, or anything, I'm there.
awesome. Great. Jay, over to you.
Yeah. So, like for some people that don't do content creation, whether as it's a job or a hobby, just like don't really do content creation themselves, like what does content creation mean to you? Like why do you do it?
Great
Yeah,
question.
so good question. So the thing is, all basically started with the fact that I was solving a problem, and then there was a way that I could solve the problem. I just wrote a few things on my notepad, and then given the same thing to my colleagues who followed it and solved the problem. So I felt like, okay, if it is going to kind of help one or two people in my organization, it could be a generic thing that I can actually make it more public, and it is going to help more people. So with that, I started kind of writing it more publicly without any hope that anybody will ever going to read about this thing. But what happened is, like, often people go to Stack Overflow, if you see, or that kind of platform with a very basic questions, right? And even if you write an answer for that basic questions and make it available for people to kind of read, follow, and find a good benefit out of it, I guess you get enough motivation to kind of start creating content. So for me, everything started from there.
Mhm.
And as I was kind of getting feedback, like, people are liking the content, people are finding value from the things that I'm creating from the day-to-day work experience. I felt like, okay, let's take the next step of finding out, like, how to teach people through the content creation. So for me, content creation is a way to talk about my work that I do. Also, the way that I can teach people, I can actually talk about certain fundamental concept which are maybe a little bit tricky to understand, but if I can break it into much more easier way for them, so that's what it means to me.
Nice. That's awesome.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I think that's like a pretty good general rule of thumb is if you're wondering how to do it and you figure out how to do it and you share it with your colleagues so that they know how to do it, everyone probably wants to learn how to do it or needs to learn how to do it or has wanted to try to figure it out at some point, right? Like it's not unique to you or your team.
Right.
The
Um,
general
Must, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do you go about planning your content? Like, does it all just kind of come from you figuring a problem out and then you writing a piece of content about it, or do you plan ahead of time and say, oh, like next month I want to write about this, and like how do you plan all of the content that you do?
And I'm really interested in this question, as Tapas said he has written like 250 blogs, and believe me, I've been writing from last 3 years and hardly 20, more, not more than that. But 250 is a huge number, so I'm really interested to know how you plan those.
Oh,
I guess I'm back. Okay, that's
ah,
sometime, yeah, it was just gone.
okay.
Did you
Did you
hear?
got? Yeah. Do you want us to repeat the question, Tapas? Or
Yes, please.
you?
Yes, please.
Ah,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Santosh.
yeah, I mean, so the question was around how you plan your content. And as I said, I mean, I'm really interested to hear from you because writing 250 blog posts is like too much work. I mean, I would say. And I have not written more than 20, 25 blog in last 3 years. So how you plan those?
Yeah, so I think it kind of translated from an, what do you say, hobby to habit right now. So standing at this point of time, it doesn't feel that difficult. But I can completely understand the point of view that you are bringing in. When I got started, it was difficult, difficult because writing is not an easy task. It is something that you need to write, and then you also need to kind of make sure that what you're writing is more error-free, because once your readers are reading it and they're finding a lot of error, they kind of start losing trust on your content, right? So that is
Right.
very important fact. Like, you may be writing something which is already existing in the market, another article, another content, but it must be error free. So what I started doing is, like, as my most of the contents are from my experience of work, so I started building the habit of note taking. I think this is what worked for me best. It's like whenever I'm doing something, I started taking notes in raw empty format in the GitHub, and that note taking could be very raw with a lot of grammatical mistakes and things like that. But what it helped me is, like, I never lost the pointers that I need to translate to an article now, because I have solved the problem. I've taken the note, and now I can just kind of start writing article for that. So the next thing that I started doing is, like, take that content, the bunch of it, put it into a proper editor, grammar check with the Grammarly or few other tools, making it, baking it, and then kind of go ahead and kind of polish and publish it, right? So this is the journey that I started strictly following. It is not easy again, sometimes it takes, say, 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, or a week to come up with a better content. But at the end of it is the kind of satisfaction that you get by making it out is really immense. So right now, I think my plan is, like, whenever I have to write a content, is first write the structure of it, very high level structure. Don't even feel the every nitty-gritty part of it. And once you're done with the high level structure of what exactly you're going to communicate, then go ahead and start writing each of the nitty-gritty pieces of it. And also, I don't write things all at once because it's mentally really, really tiring. I think writing things all at once, whenever I feel like is the best time of the day, maybe in the early morning or before I go to bed, whenever I'm more energized, I kind of start filling the gaps, and probably over 2 to 3 days it's become ready. So that's my strategy basically.
Do you typically or let me rephrase that. Do you always write about things that are, problems that you have solved or something that you've investigated? Or is it just like, oh, I'm interested in this thing, I'll write about it next month?
Yeah, I think both. So, for example, if I solve a problem, definitely I will write about it. And also, like, just now React 18 released, right? So it's a hot topic. So anywhere you write about React 18, your article is going to stand, high in the SEO, because everybody is searching for this one. So I would be writing articles for React 18, what is there, and things like that, because this is something that I also like to explore. So it's a mix of both. I think that's the way it also, I also kind of keep learning things if I explore.
No, nice.
Great.
So one follow-up question, Tapas. So sorry, Jay. So you said you plan content and then you create your structure, but how frequently you publish?
Okay, good question. So there was a time when I used to publish maybe twice in a week, 2 articles a week. So it's like 8 articles per month, because that was a craze, and I was, like, extremely passionate about writing it. I was thinking, like, the world is reading about my content, though the readers are maybe only 20 or 30. but it's like there is a feeling that the world is reading my content, so let's churn out more and more and more. But what happened is like gradually after a couple of years, I started kind of involving myself into many other activities. Like I started a YouTube channel very recently, and then doing a lot of paid writing for other publishers. So the time that I could give for my own blog has been reduced. So from 2 articles from a week, actually for my own blog, it became 2 articles for a month now. However, if I take overall, like for my blog, for Free Code Camp, say CSS Tricks, or at least 5, publishers that I'm writing for right now, freelancing altogether, I kind of fill out around 8 to 9 per month easily. At this point of time also.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow, that's a lot of content. I wish I had time to
Same
write
here.
even half of that. Yeah, I consume content more than I write it, unfortunately. But
yeah, managing the time is really tricky part. I would say
Yeah,
it's like
agreed.
yeah, because I
I
I have a
mean,
job. I'm the CTO of my company. I have a dev team under me, right? So like, I get to contribute to open source, thankfully, but like I don't get time to write like blog posts or guides or tutorials, like just stuff like that.
same here. I mean, believe me, I mean, I did a paid course. I started last year, and it took me 4 to 5 months to actually complete that. So, and I couldn't do anything else in that period. So it was like, okay, whenever I used to feel pressure, I used to go ahead and sleep. And then, okay, I lost already a week. So that's how it works for me. But Jay, there are some questions in chat. So Tapas, I'll show it to you. So there is a question from Vijay. So he says, how to get started and how to overcome fear of putting things in public.
Yeah, good question. I think see, everybody has that putting things in public, whether be it your first article, first video, or first code, public code that somebody is looking into. That fear will be there. I think only way to overcome this fear is like not to be scared of it and be as shameless as possible, right? I can actually vouch for it. If you become shameless in terms of putting your stuff out, you are going to learn more. Of course, you have to have a positive mind of taking any kind of constructive feedback, and if there is a negative feedback, just ignore them. Take the positive feedback, constructive feedback, improve on that, and keep sharing things publicly. Discard the negative feedback. That should be the mantra. Go it once, go it twice. From third time, it will be usual.
Yeah. I feel like the majority of people are probably going to support you in the content you put out, because at least you're putting some effort into it. You're putting your time into it and your best foot forward to like teach someone something that maybe they didn't know, right? There's obviously going to be the people that just don't listen to, right? Like ignore them. But yeah, good advice for sure.
Yeah, Jay, you can ask.
Yeah, okay. So I know we've talked about YouTube and we've talked about your blog, but where do you publish all of your content? Is it just those 2 mediums, or?
No, I think various platforms. So what I learned basically is the syndicating your content, basically republishing your content onto various platforms are useful. You have to do it with little bit of tricks, but if you do that, I think your content is going to reach more people. For example, when I started, the reader base for my blog was like 20, 30, right? Today it is 5,300, right? So it is increased a lot just because I could share my content on various other platforms where there are more reader base. For example, I share my article on dev.to because there are a lot of reader base, right? I share it on various other platforms like Hackanoon, right? I write for Free Code Camp. So if I'm writing a particular topic and there is a related topic already there is in my blog, I can backlink that, right? So there are various ways I can actually syndicate things into various platforms, and through which I can get improve my reader base gradually. So at least 4 or 5 platforms are where I actually do this kind of republishing my articles, apart from the fact that where I write original articles for other publishers.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So kind of a similar question from Lars here. What differentiates media when it comes to making your content engaging?
What exactly you mean by media here? Just to clarify this question, to make sure that I understand the question correctly.
Probably Lars is trying to understand what different media you use to make your content more engaging because it's really important.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So definitely. So one thing is like written media, like this is a written article where I write a lot of blog posts, and as I told, like I syndicate them, I republish them into multiple platforms from where you get a higher chance of getting your reader base increased, including Medium and all other stuff, Hashnote, dev.to, and things like that. Apart from that, another media which I recently started just 7 months back, it's YouTube is video. And I always wanted to do it, but I am very, very camera shy. Probably people watching me here can guess that I'm a bit nervous in terms of showing my face and body language and things like that. So that stopped me from doing it almost for 5 to 6 years. I had content, but I could not do it just because I was shy. So one fine day when I figured out like, okay, it's enough is enough because it's growing in age and probably after some time I'll have other liabilities, other things I won't be able to do it. Let's do it. So after creating the YouTube video channel and publishing the video content, I see a great amount of traction because there are a bunch of people who would like to watch video and learn. There are a bunch of people who are comfortable in reading stuff and then learning, right? So if you want to cater to all of your audiences and kind of link them somewhere, like from your video to your blog article or your article to your one of your video, you kind of tend to cover most of your masses, most of your readers together, right? So that's why I think that these two platforms are exceptional. Of course, there is Twitter Threads, another content creation platform. There are things like that you can share on LinkedIn. I kind of like them, but only thing is like Twitter threads or the LinkedIn stuff probably a bit short-lived because the moment you miss them until you kind of bookmark and revisit them. But the articles and videos are like more persistent. So if somebody who is like kind of writing Twitter content, if they also think about persisting them in form of an article or some other medium like video articles or video or the articles, I think that is a much better approach, right? So that way it is kind of get persistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got some clarification from Lars. Specifically, I'll put it up on screen here. How to make one engaging versus the other. Like, is there something you do specifically in YouTube videos that you wouldn't necessarily do in a blog post?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think one good way of engaging would be is like always give the lead to your readers or your viewers like what is coming next, what to expect. The more that you put that kind of clue that what is coming, what they can expect next, or what next in the game, I think they kind of get engaged with you on the upcoming things. Okay, so that is one way that I felt like is always good to do. And second thing is in your content itself, like the way that you structure your content. See, basically we are all very what do you say? We don't have time as a reader. We read the first paragraph, and if the first paragraph is the place where I can glue the reader will go to the second paragraph and the following it, and then he'll read the entire content, right? Apart from the title and the cover image, there is nothing is guaranteed that the reader is going to read, right? So what you need to do for the reader retention or making engaged, you have to make sure that the first few paragraphs you are calling out clearly what is expected from this particular piece of content. And if that expectation is set correctly and in a correct tone, your reader is going to stay. So correct tone in the sense is like you might not want to make it very formal. You probably want to keep it little lightweight, little informal, because today tech community and the tech world doesn't like that kind of formal kind of conversations, like even in our organization and the offices also. So keep it a bit informal and then kind of make them go towards the next section. That's the way you can actually keep it engaged. And then also for the video one as well, tell upfront like what to expect and why exactly it is different. Why are you creating this video content or this kind of written content which is already existing, created by somebody else, and what is the different thing that you are going to do in your content? If you just call that out specifically for the video content, I think that works like wonders. And at the end, leave them the clue that what exactly you are planning next, so that they will also come back. So these are the ways I feel that engagement work is working for me.
Nice. So when creating, written content and stuff, we have a question here. As a non-native speaker, do you use any specific tool for checking English grammar, or are you comfortable enough that you don't?
I'm not even writing for 3 years, I'm still not very comfortable in writing in English. Part of our education, we know what to do in the grammar and all the stuff. But when it comes to writing, it is just not about grammar. It's about the tone as well. How do you want it to sound like? Is it like you want to sound like telling a story, or it's like sound like somebody who is very confident about certain things talking, or it is like very friendly? So all these things matters. So for that, yes, definitely a tool is very important, specifically non-English speakers. So I use Grammarly, I use Hemingway app. These are my two go-to tools. So what I do basically now, most of the editors, be it Ghost Editor or on Hashnode or Dev, like they have the good integration with your Grammarly plugin, so you can install that on your browser. And then as and when you write, it actually errors out, you kind of clear things up. And once I'm done with that, I post the entire content to Hemingway to see is there anything else that I can do, because Hemingway catch things more from the structural point of view. And finally, I kind of go about it. One point I just want to kind of clarify, is my learning over the years is like, using a tool is great, but don't be very blind about using this. So there is certain things, there is certain tone, there is certain approach is God gifted, to everyone. Like the way I will form a sentence or a paragraph, Santosh is going to do it differently, right? Now, Grammarly might change things very structurally from the English point of view. But if you feel that your tone is something, your gut feeling, like your intuition, your tone is something that will touch your readers more, keep it. But make sure it is grammatically correct. So just doing that balance will kind of work out.
Honestly, English is hard. The language doesn't make sense. It's really dumb. I'm 30. I still can't even write English well. Grammarly would still correct me. So it's more about the content than it is about the grammar, for sure.
Exactly.
As long as it's comprehensive, of course.
And developers don't care much about the grammar nowadays. I mean, they just want to understand what is done, how it is done. I've seen. I mean, believe me. I mean, I've been saying this from a long time. I think the only Indians are a little bit concerned when it comes to grammar. I mean, they will just try to act smart that, okay, I know grammar. I mean, you have done something wrong. No one else cares
we
about.
need more corrections, right? In right English, we need more corrections in the grammatical point of view. So we are very nitty-picky about that also, like whether it's right or not.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is not. You shouldn't be doing that. I mean, of course, you like the content. I mean, content is on point. I mean, we are able to understand. It's okay. Sometimes, I mean, there is some small grammatical mistake, and you don't have to actually. You can just probably DM the author, right? Rather than saying somewhere in public that, okay, you did this, which is I think I don't find the right thing to do.
No,
Yeah, but just have to make sure that there is no spelling mistakes. That's where the tools are very helpful, and the spelling mistakes is like, it's kind of bring the contents, that quality pretty much down.
Yep, exactly. If someone finds the content valuable, they're not going to care about the grammar.
Yeah.
It's just like that. Especially because like English is not the dominant language.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right? Like it's a lot of people's second language.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we expect everybody to be able to write it perfectly? Right? All I really care about is that you're teaching me how to do this thing and I'm learning it from you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of building on that previous question that we had about, how do you get over the fear of, putting something out to the public? Do you have any tips for developers that want to get into content creation? Like how would you suggest to start, whatever starting looks like?
Yeah, sure. So I believe that there is no particular day or time to start for content creation. Any day is a great day, any time is a great time. What you just need is like some time, sit and think that you are going to write today. Write the piece, very minimalistic review and things like that, whatever you can do. Go for publishing it. And shamelessly share that on social media, everywhere, talk about your work. That's how you start. That's how everybody start, right? Be it a product, be it any kind of services, everybody is doing in this way. Nobody is kind of making the product or making the product at 100% and coming to the market. If you see, they do gradually. They do with a lot of feedback and things like that. our article, our content creation is our product. As a content creator, this is our product. So go with the market with the best viable thing that you have, and let it get improved with a lot of feedback and things like that from the social media or many other factors. So just go for it.
Great. Yeah. I think just starting is a really good tip. Like, don't try and do, like, on a scale of 0 to 100, you're never going to, just don't try and do the 100, right?
Yeah, don't try.
And publish at 15 and then like iterate from there, right?
Yeah, very true. I just want to share is like, who are watching is like, so very recently, I have started one a Twitter thread series. Actually, it's a weekly series about how to get started with content creation, specifically in the blogging. So if you're there on Twitter, you will find that under my profile, or if you don't, just ping me, I'll share that thread with you. So it's a series of threads, 5 threads, where you will get all the answers about how to go about creating it, how to get the traffic to your blog, how to make career with as a technology blogger, all those aspects together. So please go ahead and try to find that.
I'll retweet it.
Sure.
Cool. Do you have any books or anything that you would suggest for people that want to get into content creation, or is it kind of just, again, jump into it?
They should jump into it. That's the first thing. Definitely, don't wait for the book to kind of get it. It's basically it's not an exam or something like that, right? So it's something that driven by your passion, and if you're passionate about it, want to build a career around that, go ahead. Don't worry about any book, tutorial, and things like that. With your experience, you might end up writing a book one day, about content creation. But after some certain point of time, I started reading about it because this is something that of my interest. So I started reading so that I can polish things more. So there is one book that I follow. It's not a book actually. It's a tech writing handbook by Dozuki. So I'll share the link on the chat. So that's a great thing. That's a great handbook. If you just keep that and time to time kind of follow each of the sections, that will be a fantastic things for you to do. I'll just paste that into this chat section for anybody to consume. Yeah.
Thank you. Cool. We are coming up on the end of time. Is there anything that you want to promote, share, tell people about, point people towards? I'm going to share all of your social links and your streams and stuff like that in the chat, but is there anything else that you want to promote?
First of all, thanks for having me here. I think I really enjoyed sharing this. I love doing this. I'm not sure it's promotional things like that. I just want to talk about my YouTube channel because I see a great amount of traction without really putting a lot of fancy stuff in terms of creating video. I'm still learning how to create a video, edit a video, and things like that. But I feel that is kind of going to create a lot of value for people, specifically from the web development area. I'm doing a React series right now, which is getting a good feedback so far. There is a JavaScript thing, there's a Node thing, and there is a Next.js thing is upcoming. So if you are interested to learn any of this thing and build things, learn by building stuff, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You won't be disappointed. So that's the only thing that I want to kind of call out.
Perfect. It's great. Good answer.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. I know it's a holiday for all of us, and thank you for everybody watching. I know everybody's probably not working today as well, so it's good to chat with everybody. And yeah, thanks for coming. Santosh.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you everyone for listening to me. Please connect. If you have any further queries, I'd always help to kind of always be happy to help you. Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks again, Tapas. So, hey everyone, thanks again for joining and being. I hope you will enjoy your weekend. I mean, it's probably long weekend for a lot of us. So have a great weekend, and we will come back again with another episode where we'll be talking about Gina.ai, which is related to, of course, machine learning, and they are doing some amazing stuff. I mean, I saw the repository and it has already 15K stars. So we'll be talking with one of the developer advocate from Gina.ai, and again, thanks a lot for the GitHub sponsors, me and Lars have, because that's what have been running this show. That's what I have been paying for this show. And also, if you want to create content, you can also join our community called This Is Learning, which is free, open source. We also have some published some courses, which is again free and open source. We plan to keep everything easily accessible. It will be always free, and that's it for the day. And you can also join our Twitter community in case you want. Just DM me or Lars or Jay, anyone, and we will onboard you onto the Twitter community as well. So thanks again, Tapas, thanks again, Jay, and have a great weekend.
Yeah,
Bye,
certainly.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.